finding a good domain name is a lot harder than actually doing the registration, which we will walk through in a second here. The registration process is really straightforward. If you'd like to know how to actually go about choosing a good domain name, watch some of my other videos. I'll go into it in more depth there. I'll put the links down in the description. So, but right now, all we're going to do is we're going to go through the registration of the domain. So one of two providers that I would recommend is, my number one choice would be Namecheap. They are by far the cheapest that I've found, most reliable. They offer free privacy guard protection. If you're concerned about people finding out who owns your domain, you can actually get privacy protection for the domain, and the first year is free. Now, GoDaddy would be my second option. They are more expensive, and for the most part, I've been moving a lot of my domains from GoDaddy over to Namecheap. So I have quite a few domains hosted with Namecheap, and I've never had any problems. So the registration for them is pretty straightforward. You go to there's a link, just click on the domain name link in the description, and you'll end up at this page where it says finding your new domain name. If you know the domain name, or if you have just one domain that you actually want to register, you can type it here. If you have a bunch of options, and this is kind of your research phase, like you're trying to find good domain names, you can click the bulk options option, and here you can enter up to 50 domains. Just separate each one on a new line. Pretty straightforward. And then just hit the search button, and it'll display which ones are actually available. But I already know that my domain is available, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Hit search. Now there will be a check mark to show that the domain is obviously available. Again, it says this domain is available, so it's pretty straightforward. Then down at the bottom, it'll show you all the other domains that are also available, the actual price, and you can add multiple ones to the cart at the same time. If you are building a brand and the domain name is actually made up of your brand, your product brand, I would strongly advise you getting multiple domains at the same time. So I would get the .com top level domain, I would get the .net at the very least, and then a couple of these others. I mean, the extensions are just exploding lately. So this is the cost. It's an annual thing. If you forget to make a payment on a domain name, or you just let it expire, then you will lose your domain name. It'll become back available for circulation, somebody else to register. You never really own a domain name. It's more of just like think of it as a lease. You can have it for as long as you're willing to pay the annual fee to own that domain name. So enough said. Let's add this to the cart. Now it appears on the right here. Obviously ICANN's got to get its cut, so there's a fee and then the total. So I go to view cart. All right, so this is what I was talking about. If you look down here, you'll see free WHOISGOD. This is privacy protection. If you're concerned and you don't want people to know that you actually own this domain, go with privacy protection and just make sure that auto renew is turned on so that you don't forget. And then auto renew by default is turned off for the domain registration. Make very sure that you turn this on. I would strongly advise that, because you can forget to renew a domain and it will expire, and as I mentioned before, you will lose it and your site will go down. So this is free, so you don't have to have it, but if you do and you turn auto renew on, the following year they'll charge you whatever this total is here, $288. Okay, so you can go ahead and confirm order. It'll ask you to create an account. I already have an account, so I will be signing in. Obviously, you need to create an account. Just fill out all this information on the right, create an account, and continue. Okay, so you go ahead and pay now. And that's it. So I've purchased the domain. The reason it did not ask me for my credit card information is because I saved it as a default payment option, and you can do that. If you click the pay button and it takes you, and this is the first time you're doing it, it'll just take you to where you can pay, enter your credit card information, or you can pay through PayPal, I believe, and then you'll end up at the same point where I am now. So now that you've purchased the domain, you'll end up getting an email. All right, so the next thing that I want to just walk through is explaining how to manage the domain. Now, I'm going to control down control on my keyboard and left click to open a new tab, so that we can Alright, so obviously I've filtered by the domain name because I have a bunch of other domain names in here, and I didn't want to, just to remove clutter. Let's look at this line item. So you've got your domain name here. You've got the notification that WhoisGuard protection is on. And then you've got the status of the domain name and the expiration date. Now, at the beginning, when you purchased the domain, we checked that option to auto renew, and we also checked the option for the WhoisGuard auto renew protection. So if for whatever reason you decide you want to turn this off, you can just turn it off and it will be disabled, and that way you will have to renew this domain manually come January 13, 2007 in this example. Okay, but I'm going to keep this checked to on. And now when you click manage on this specific domain, I'm going to use control and left click again to open this in a new tab. And this is where all the magic really takes place. We will come back to this specific page where after we've purchased hosting, because we've got to link the two together. Okay, so again, that information is being reiterated here. The domain is active, the date it was registered, and the time it will expire, whether auto renew is on or off. You can add years here if you decide you want to purchase this domain or extend the registration for the next 5, 6, 7 years, whatever. You can do that there. Then you can turn off the WhoisGuard protection by just flicking that switch. You can turn the auto renew on or off, and I will keep auto renew on. There's some more details here. You can change the primary account email. You can decide if somebody wants to reach out to you, they will hit the WhoisGuard server, and this email will then be forwarded to you so that they're not directly communicating with you. Okay, so that's where you set this. Then this is the most important thing. We will come back to this in the next couple of videos. It is the name servers. Now this basically just points to where the host is. So we'll input that information over here, so don't worry about that right now. And then down here is the redirect of the domain. If you purchased a really long domain name, and for some reason you want to redirect it to another domain, you can do that here. In this instance, it is redirecting. If somebody types in makingyourfirstblog.com, it's going to redirect. The destination URL is going to be www.makingyourfirstblog.com. I'm going to delete this. Now the reason I deleted that is I don't really want the domain to redirect to the www variation. There's SEO reasons for this. I won't get into that now, but that's the reason I'm deleting it. Okay, and then obviously the redirect email. Anything that comes in will redirect to whatever email address you set here. Okay. In fact, hover over that and it will give you more information on what this does. All right, so that's it for right now. The next video, we will take a look at hosting, getting hosting, and then we will tie the two together.